Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome back. In this video, we're going to be talking about how to use social media for church growth, part 2, and we're going to be diving into one of my personal favorite subjects, Facebook. So let's go. Hey, what's up, y'all? My name is Chris Abbott, but all my friends just call me Abbo, and I have helped thousands of churches attract thousands of new visitors using different types of social media and technology, and one of my very favorite things to talk about is Facebook, right? And here's why. There's 2.7 billion people on Facebook, which makes Facebook the single largest missions field the church has ever seen, right? And I think when we begin to look at Facebook as a missions field instead of a social platform, it completely changes the way that we show up. And so that's exactly what I want to do as we outline the strategy in this video. We're going to be talking about a ministry-based approach to Facebook, so let's dive in. All right, so for this Facebook strategy, I specifically want to talk about Facebook ads. Now, I've done a bunch of different videos on exactly what to post on Facebook, and you guys can check those out by clicking on the link in the description below. So in this video, I specifically wanted to concentrate on a ministry-based Facebook ad strategy that I've been using with churches all over the country. In fact, we've done this with about 450 churches in the last 18 months. We've actually been able to generate over 60,000 prayer requests and over 7,000 new families to those partner churches. So let's outline the exact 4-part framework that I use with every single one of those churches so you can use it at your church too. All right, so number 1, a targeted Facebook ad. Now, this is different than a boosted post, right? A boosted post is where you go and you post something on Facebook, and then you end up getting a message from Facebook saying, hey, this post is performing 84% better than all of your other posts. Why not put $20 behind it and show it to more people? Right? Those are good to do, but those are boosted posts. They're not Facebook ads. Those are good for reaching people inside your church. But if you want to reach people outside your church, you need to go to the ads manager. And this is really simple to find. It's just facebook.com/ads manager. And that's going to pull up your ads account where you can actually create a targeted Facebook ad. Now, there are a bunch of different types of Facebook ads that you can run. In fact, when you click create, one of the first things that Facebook's going to ask you to do is to choose your objective. I recommend either running a traffic ad, which is going to send traffic or people from Facebook to your website, or you want to run a messages ad, which is what we're going to be talking about in this video. So you want to create a targeted Facebook ad, simply drop a pin on your church by typing in the address, and then you want to pull out the radius to whatever driving distance is for your city. For example, my church is in Tulsa, and so that's usually about 10 to 15 miles. So I always go in, I drop a pin on my church, I set the radius to 15 miles, and then I leave the rest of the targeting completely wide open. Now, if you've ever run a Facebook ad before, you're going to say, hey, that sounds completely counterintuitive, and it is, right? The reason is we want Facebook to show our ad to as many people as possible for the least amount of money as possible. And Facebook's algorithm is so powerful, we don't want to try to guess who's going to interact with our ad. We want to let Facebook do the heavy lifting for us. So leave it completely wide open. Everyone within driving distance of your church, 18 to 65 plus, and let Facebook's algorithm figure out how to show it to more people for less money. All right, number 2, Facebook Messenger. Now, I am a huge fan of Facebook Messenger for 2 reasons. Number 1, when you run a messages ad that goes from your Facebook ad into Facebook Messenger, Facebook rewards you because you're not actually trying to take them away from Facebook to your website. And this is great, especially if you are kind of ashamed of your website, or your website doesn't load very fast, or if you're a smaller church and you don't have a website, right? This is a great strategy because you're bypassing the website completely and you're keeping them on Facebook, which Facebook likes, so they're going to reward you for it. And you can completely skip going to your website and just keep people on Facebook. The second reason I like this is because it's so much more personal than a website. Now we have them inside of Facebook Messenger where we can actually have an online ministry conversation, right? We can have a back and forth conversation with real people in your city who don't currently go to your church. This is huge, right? So you could run a Facebook ad saying, hey, how can I pray for you this week? And you could run it into Facebook Messenger. And now as people go into Messenger and they're submitting their prayer request to you, you can literally in real time have a conversation back and forth about their prayer request and then invite them to church. All right, so once you're in Facebook Messenger, you can either do everything manually or you can use something called a chatbot, which is simply an automated sequence that you can use to interact with people. And then you can jump in after the automated sequences are done firing, or you can just do everything manually and just have a manual conversation with every single person that's come in. But number 3 is plan your visit. So regardless of whether or not you do it manually or you use a chat bot, once you jump in there, you want to personally invite them to plan a visit for Sunday morning, right? And so if you guys are using Plan Your Visit, then you can literally just find their name, email, and phone number if they say yes to planning a visit, or you can just invite them out to church and say, hey, this is Pastor Chris. Man, I want to invite you out to church this Sunday at 10 o'clock. Can you make it? Or you might just jump in and say, hey, what's up, John? This is Pastor Chris. Man, I'm definitely going to be praying for you this week. But I tell you what, man, I'd love to pray for you in person. We're having church this Sunday at 10 o'clock. Can you make it? Right now, we're promising to pray for them and to pray for their prayer requests, but we're also inviting them out to church in a way that is a benefit to them because, hey, I'm going to be praying for you, but if you'd like for me to pray in person, then why don't you come out and be my personal guest this Sunday? I'd be happy to pray for you at church. Whenever we've done this, we found about 10% of the people who submit a prayer request will then go on to plan a visit. And so if you end up praying for about 100 people, on average, at least 10 of them are going to come out to church. And the great thing is, of those 10 people, a lot of them have families that come with them. Right? In fact, on average, for every plan your visit that we see using the strategy, we typically see about 3 people. So if you have 10 people who say yes to planning a visit, it's probably going to be an average of 25 to 30 people because some of those people are going to be by themselves, but some of them are going to have big, huge families of 4, 5, 6, 7 people. And so on average, every single plan your visit is usually worth about 3 people. So a friend of mine actually pastors a church of about 40 people. And when he started doing this, things took off really, really fast for him, right? He had tons of prayer requests coming in. He was connecting with every single person. He was inviting people out to plan a visit. And in the first 3 weeks of utilizing this strategy, that church of 40 people had 22 new people not only show up to church, but in the first 3 weeks of utilizing this exact strategy, that church of 40 people had 22 new members join the church. It's pretty cool. Hey, if you like this video, would you make sure to like and subscribe? We've got new videos and new content coming out every single day, 5 days a week. So make sure to subscribe to the channel and click that little bell so you never miss a video. All right, number 4, audio prayer. Now, this is a little bit ninja, but this is what ties everything together. And I'm going to share with you my 3-part strategy that I call the conversation elevation framework. Right? So here's what happens. If you're running an ad that says, hey, how can I pray for you? And someone goes into Facebook Messenger and now you're having a conversation with them about prayer. The next thing that you want to do is you want to send them an audio prayer through Facebook Messenger, right? That way they can hear your voice using their name praying for their situation. So this is really important. You don't want to just do one video and send it to every single person. It needs to be a personal video every single time. Now, the cool thing is you can only send a 60-second audio through Facebook anyway, so it's only going to take about 30 to 60 seconds per prayer request. So this won't take a lot of time, but it's really, really important, and here's why. Every single person that is now coming into Messenger and asking you to pray for them, right, now you're kind of getting to know each other, but it's still kind of an online anonymous conversation. Right? But when they get an audio prayer from you and they hear your voice using their name praying for their situation, what happens is it actually elevates that conversation to a personal connection, right? Now they feel like they know you as a person, right? So when you invite them out to church, now we're tapping into the power of a personal invite instead of just an online conversation, right? It's that 3-part conversation elevation framework. We're taking it from an online anonymous conversation to a personal connection with one simple audio prayer. Now, I was working with a church plant that was kind of stuck at about 120, 130 people. And so they started doing this exact thing, and they started sending audio prayers to every single person who was sending in a prayer request. And it was crazy. They went from 130 to 200 in 3 months over the summer. So while everyone else is going through the summer slump and attendance is down and giving is down, this church plant was literally breaking one of the hardest church growth barriers known to mankind in the middle of July. And not only did they go from 130 to 200, but they also had the 2 largest membership classes of people joining the church in July and August. Pretty sweet. Okay, and finally, you need a follow-up system. So you're going to be talking to lots of people. You're going to be praying for them. You're going to be doing ministry inside of Facebook Messenger and sending over the audio prayers, right? Some of those people are going to plan a visit. Some are going to show up on Sunday. But for the ones that don't, you need to have some type of a follow-up system. And so what I recommend is using a tool like Text in Church. They have a built-in follow-up system. Like literally, when I first found them years ago, we signed up and immediately started using their 6-week follow-up system at our church. And it was game over. We had a ton of visitors who were normally slipping through the cracks because it's so hard to remember to follow up with every single person, right? But with an automated follow-up system and something like Text in Church, it does it for you and it makes it super, super simple. And it's a beautiful thing because, as we all know, the only thing better than a first-time visitor is a second-time visitor. So if you guys want to try out Text in Church for free, you can actually click on the link in the description below, and you can actually get 90 days of Text in Church absolutely free to see if it's a good fit for your church. Okay, so if you guys are liking this video series and you're enjoying what we had for Instagram and Facebook, so click on the link in the description below and go check out How to Use Social Media for Church Growth, Part 3 on YouTube.